Kia ora te whānau. Nau mai, hoki mai, thank you for joining us again for another live stream. Our last one for June 26th, 2025. Man, time's flying. You can see wifey in the background somewhere. Kia ora wifey, having her final vape of the night. A little bit tired tonight, whānau. I've been up really early, had an awesome time, drove down to our campus, one of our campuses in Kirikiriroa, Hamilton, Mangoko Tukutuku, and took one of our new kaimahi down there. So awesome to see all the people down there, and yeah, all the kayako and kaimahi down there. But yeah, it's been a long day, so we're going to get kind of stuck, going to get into it fairly quickly. But before we bring up our kaupapa for the night, you may have seen that I put up a poll or a bit of a survey rather than a poll, and that's to look at the nights that we want our live streams on. So I really want your feedback. There's just a question about the nights, either Wednesday or Thursday, or if you prefer a different night, you can, and also whether 8 o'clock is okay. It seems to be that everyone so far is okay with 8 o'clock, but we had a really good turnout last Wednesday, and the only reason I chose Thursday was it was a bit arbitrary and really because I had some time that night. But now I'm free either Thursday or Wednesday, so I really want as many people as possible to let me know in that survey what night you prefer, because I'd like to be available to most people. And secondly, the other question is, do you have any questions about AI? So if you do have any questions, we've had some awesome questions come through so far, because I plan to do an AI session soon, and just want to be able to see what you guys want to know about AI. So that's our that's my little bit of a kōrero. But our kaupapa today is about two-factor authentication. And the reason I really wanted to do this was because it's becoming more and more important in today's digital world to protect yourself online, to protect your identity, to protect your logins. And the worst thing about logins is passwords and people, because most people have simple passwords or the same password for everywhere. And so two-factor authentication can be a way to make your logins more secure. Now, a lot of people have used two-factor authentication in a lot of things already, but I just wanted to show you some of the ways that you can use an app and actually have a look at which way is more secure. So before we get into me showing you some stuff, there are four-ish ways that you can get two-factor authentication. First way, which is probably the most common, or the one that started out the most common, is just getting an SMS, like getting a text message. So you go into login, that service has your phone number, they text you a code and you put that code in and it authorizes you. The cool thing about that is you have to have your phone number. The bad thing is your phone number can actually be spoofed. So someone can take your phone number or copy your phone number if they really want to get into it. Email, another thing, instead of texting you, you get an email asking you to put in the code. Once again, great because you have that email, but once again, emails can be hacked. So not quite as secure as it could be. The third way is actually getting a notification from that services app. And one example is I bank with ASB, and so I've got the ASB app on my phone. If I want to log in online on my computer, I'll log in and they'll send a message to my phone's app, the ASB app, and say, is this you logging in? And I just click on approve. So that's kind of cool, but you have to have that app on your phone. And it doesn't work if you're only using a phone app to log into somewhere. And the fourth way is the Authenticator app. So we're going to have a look at the Authenticator app mostly tonight. And it shouldn't take too long. We should be done by 8:30 to let everyone go and enjoy the rest of the night. So let's have a look at that. Okay. So here I have on the left-hand side of my screen my phone. Okay, it's not my real phone. It's just a fake phone, but it's a Android phone with different apps on it. So, sorry, I just put a clock widget so I can access apps just like I would any phone. But I've installed 3 Authenticator apps here. There's a Google Authenticator, there's a Microsoft Authenticator, okay, and then there's a third-party authenticator called Authy. And I wanted to do 3 here because the Google Authenticator is great if your main email is Google. The Microsoft Authenticator is awesome if your main account is a Hotmail or Outlook. That's your main email, the main kind of service that you use. And Authy is great if you use a different kind of email or you don't want to use the Google or Microsoft apps. If you are an iPhone user, you can access all of these apps as well, but you also have the option of using the Apple's cloud service passwords. And even if you have an Android phone, you can install their password manager onto your Android as well. But we're going to have, these are the 3 that I just wanted to show. And one of the good things about these kinds of apps is that they can sync. So if you change phones, you just have to re-log in and all of your authentication codes come across. So how does it work? I'm just going to use the Google Authenticator at the moment, but they all work the same way. Here I am on my Google website. I have my Google Authenticator app already got my tutorial tour at gmail.com loaded. Okay. You can see over on the little right hand side here, it's like a countdown clock, just getting smaller and smaller. That's because this code only lasts for a certain amount of time, like 60 seconds, and then the code will change. So if you don't enter that code in the amount of time it takes, then you have to get a new code. So that means the code can't be copied by anybody else. So here I'm going to come across and sign in. I'll sign in tutorial tour. I want to go .two. Okay. Next, my password. And hopefully I can remember the password. Okay, I want to skip that. Oh, it hasn't asked me for my 2-factor authentication. That's okay. Let's see. I'm going to come to manage my Google account. I can come to security, and then I can set two-step verification. Okay. So two-step verification, it's on, and I can do a Google prompt or I can use a Google Authenticator app. Okay. So actually, let's delete this now. I'm going to remove that account and I'm going to delete this option. and I'm going to set up Authenticator. Now it gives me this QR code. And so in my Authenticator app, I'm adding an account by adding a code, and I want to scan a QR code. And so I'm going to use my, hopefully this works. I'm going to use my camera, which I'm holding by hand. Oops, let's try. This is really hard trying to, oh, no, it's not scanning. That's okay. I can say can't scan it. And then in my app, I can enter this code here. So I'm going to copy that code. I'll just come back and enter a setup key, my key, code name, Google, I'll add. Okay, and now I've got authentication on. Kia ora were and Shah and Tu and Kathy, thanks for chickening in. Okay. So there we go. I've got 2-factor authentication on. Oh, set up Authenticator. Can't scan it. Copy that code. Remove account. Add a code. Enter a setup key. Paste that in. Google. Add. I'll go next there. And it's going to ask me to enter that code. All I have to do is click and hold on that code. It copies it to my clipboard and paste it in. And now something went wrong. There we go. I'm authenticated. So now if I log into Google with another account, let's use our guest. Go to gmail.com. So now I'm using a guest account, which means there's no cookies or anything on here. Tour password. And now it's asking for my two-step verification. Now, with Google, you get these pop-ups as well, but I can use my authenticator. I'll just come back from my home screen. I just open up my authenticator. Here's my code. If it's running out too much, I'll just wait for it to renew. So that's that little timer here. Go to test. Press and hold on my code to copy it. I'm going to try another way because I want to use my Authenticator app, and I'm going to paste that code in there. Next. And I'm in. Okay, so that's using Authenticator in Google. I'm going to do the same in Facebook. I'm hoping the camera one works. But here we go. Here's my tutorial tour. I'll put in my password and log in. Now I don't have two-factor authentication set up on Facebook yet, but I can do that. No, I don't want you to save my passwords. I want to come into settings and privacy, and I'll come into, I think it's Privacy Center. Let's go Common Privacy Settings, Manage an Account Center, and two-factor authentication. So here, we're going to ask for two-factor authentication. It sent an email to my Wānanga email. And here we go. So this is a version of two-factor authentication, but this is going to allow me to set up an Authenticator app code. So I'll copy that, paste that in. And now it knows it's me. And I'm going to say I want to use an Authenticator app. So I'll continue. It's going to give me that QR code again. So here in my Google Authenticator on my phone, down the bottom, I'm just going to click on the plus and I can try and scan a QR code. I'll try and scan this again, see if the QR code works this time. I don't think it will. I think this camera that I'm using is a bit too dodgy and it's out of alignment. So the camera's where I usually use it, but instead I'm going to enter a setup key. Okay, and here's my key here. I can just click on copy key. I'll paste the key in here. I'll call this Facebook. Add. Okay. Now I've got a Facebook authenticator, so I'll go next there, and it's going to ask me for the code. Once again, press and hold just to copy it, or I can just manually type. And now my two-factor authentication is on. So what that means, Whānau, now is if I'm going, if I need to log into Facebook in another app on a tablet, or if I get and logging into a new computer or something like that, before it does anything, it's going to ask me for my code, and all I have to do is open up my Authenticator app and copy that code and paste it in for the two-factor authentication. Now, the reason why I think this is a better way to go is because you have to have your phone with you. So we've always got our phones with us, and what it means is that we can, no one else can try and log in if they happen to be able to see our email or any other reason. They have to have our phone to be able to log in. And often I don't have biometrics set up on this phone, but if I've got a fingerprint or face unlock, before I can open up the Authenticator app, it's going to ask me for my biometrics. So there's two things. They have to have my phone and they have to have my fingerprint or my face. So it's a much, much more secure way to secure your accounts than just having a password. And especially if you're a person that has the same password on every single account, I really, really recommend you find where you can add two-factor authentication to that account and then use an Authenticator app. Now, let me turn that off. Now, my wife and I actually, we've got our own Google accounts, and that's our main kind of account. And then we've got a third one, which is like a master one that we both have access to. So she's got her email, I've got my email. We've got this third account that we don't actually get email to, but it's one account. And so that's one Authenticator app. So if she needs to get into one of my services or needs to log into something for me, such as my bank, she can do that because she's our Authenticator app is connected to that third account. The other bonus is if we have to pay for a service or an app, we pay it from that account, and then we can have it on both of our phones. So we're not doubling up paying for services or apps that we might purchase. So that might be one thing that you want to do with your whānau, is have that third app. Be sure to make sure you've got a good password on that account though that you're using that app on. But having an app that's like using the Google Authenticator, Microsoft Authenticator, Authy or the Apple password manager is great because they're stored to the cloud. So if you lost your phone, you can still recover all of those codes. The last thing I want to talk about is a new technology called passcodes or passkeys. Now, these are great, and the more I'm learning about them and how they work, the more I'm convinced that they really are the future, because they totally get rid of passwords. And as I said at the start, the weak part of all of our online services, our online personas, and all of that information that we're storing online is the fact that, by and large, we have really poor passwords. Even if we use a password manager to create good passwords, those passwords can still be stolen because the service that we're using gets hacked. So passcodes, and I'll probably do a session about this later in the year, but they're a way to get rid of passwords. The only thing I want to say about it is, before we start all using passcodes, is actually thinking about how we store or where we store the passcodes. Because if you've ever logged into Google recently, other services like YouTube, I think Facebook has asked me to save a passcode. There's been a bunch of services that said, do you want to save a passcode? Without knowing where I'm saving that to, I think it becomes a little bit of a, not an issue, but it does become a case where if we don't think about it and plan it beforehand, we might have passcodes stored in one service and some passcodes stored in another one, and it might become a mess. So before you go down that road, have a think about where you want to store them, and then you can go from there, like choosing one service and using that for all your passcodes. And sometimes that can be a password manager. So yeah, once again, I just wanted to do something quick, and for me, important for all of us to kind of ensure we're keeping ourselves and our data safe in a far more and increasingly more connected world. So next week is the start of a new month. It is going to be there's going to be a lot going on, but my idea at the moment for the whole month, and don't fall asleep on me, whānau, is PowerPoint. But as I said, don't fall asleep on me. Each week of the month, next month, is going to be how to use PowerPoint to do something that isn't a presentation. So we're going to do all kinds of things. We're going to learn how to use PowerPoint to create social media graphics, to create a CV, to make a rangaho poster or an infographic, to make an interactive activity for kids or for whānau. So lots of different ways that we can use a tool that we have available to us freely, wherever we are, that we learn anyway because we use it to do presentations or to share our mātauranga, but using it in unique and innovative ways that it may not have been designed for, but actually does a really, really cool job without us having to go out and learn different tools and stuff like that. So if you like that idea, let us know. Once again, fill in the survey. I will put the link in the chat again right now. Okay. The more people that we have filling that in and telling us about it, the better. I'm going to go and have an actual shower now and put on some washing and have a little bit of a kai and rest. So we will see you next week. Hei kona whānau, have an awesome weekend. Ka kite anō. And outro video. It's even though I don't like it.